I'm Ronnie Green, and I serve as the Vice President for Agriculture and Natural Resources at the University of Nebraska, and also have the pleasure and privilege of overseeing the Institute of Ag and Natural Resources at the University of Nebraska Lincoln. We happen to be located in the state that is the center and a global leader of beef production around the world. Nebraska's long been known as a leader in the beef industry globally because of the environment that we have that's so conducive to high-quality beef production and the bringing together of all of the sectors. The cow-calf industry in the sandhills, especially of Nebraska, the fed cattle industry that takes grain and grain byproducts that are produced here in the state and adds value to them in the form of high-quality beef, as well as the processing and further fabrication and retail industries that are centered here in Nebraska, making it now the leading state in the United States in commercial red meat production and in the cattle industry. We know that we're going to have continuously growing and building demand for animal protein in the world over the next several decades. So if we take the growth in world population that we expect to happen by 2050, and we also take the emerging middle class that is growing in particular in some of those most rapidly growing regions of the world, I think China, for example, we estimate that by 2050 there will be 3 billion meat and dairy consumers that are not meat and dairy consumers today in our 7 billion person population. So there's huge opportunity ahead for the global beef industry, especially for Nebraska, which is the epicenter in many ways of that global beef industry, and especially here in the U.S., to continue to grow and to build that industry in the future. At the same time, though, we know that in order to meet that demand that's out there ahead of us, that we're going to have to innovate this industry in ways that we haven't ever seen before. Not only in terms of meeting the total production that will be required, but how do we do that with less water and with lower feed inputs or lower value feed inputs, where we're seeing increased competition around the world for what we've traditionally used as feed inputs to the beef industry and the beef supply chain. We know we're going to have to continue to grow the safety and continue the reputation that the industry has for safe product as well as high quality product. We're going to have to figure out how to continue to even further integrate this industry over what we have seen develop in the last number of decades behind us. So all of that together says that we think we will continue to grow the beef industry in Nebraska. We also know that we're having to increase our investment in the beef industry from the university's perspective in the research we do, and the education of students that we have, and the translation of the research out into the public through our extension efforts in order to meet that need that's out ahead of us. It's an exciting time for the beef industry, and we've got a lot of opportunity to look forward to in the future.